YouTubers, welcome to a very, very special edition of Trends in the Housing Market. I'm going to be going live from time to time just to, get you guys up to speed on what's going on. And I got the live chat on, so if you guys want to start leaving me chats, yep, super chat is enabled. I'll have this on, and I'll be we'll be discussing your whatever it is you want to talk about that's happening in the housing market and the housing crisis and the housing sector and the housing everything. And the housing crisis is so big, okay, that you could have a whole show about it. You could have you could have guys on 10-hour shifts or 7-hour shifts doing shift work, reading articles, because it's crazy. It's beyond everything. Okay, Jake Carter just came online. Got a notification on his phone. Really good. Get some of our long-time subscribers on here, leaving some feedback. A lot of good feedback, experiences and stuff. But you could have 4 full-time, 24-hour shifts, 4 full-time, 24 hours a day, full-time guys doing shift work, doing housing discussion, because that's how big it is. Every country with the free market is getting destroyed, and their housing market, their futures, and anything you want to put on the table that's negotiable business wise is disappearing. Now it's housing, right? So I want to know how you guys fare with it. You know what I'm saying? How people are faring with this, because I'm talking to quite a few people, and some people have come up with the conclusion, or they have come to grips that they can never own and they never will own. And how does that make you feel? How do you feel about that? You know what I'm saying? And I want to know what you guys are feeling about that and how the buzz is going, because there's a big buzz. This housing market, I think, is probably the most talked about event since a major global war. Everywhere you go, whether you're on the subway, whether you're walking up to pick up some groceries, it doesn't matter. Everyone's talking about housing, and that's it. That's everything. I'm in the lineup picking up, I think it was ketchup and some couple other little things. And people in line's like, yeah, the housing there is just going crazy, and I don't know how my son's going to survive there. It's like, yep. Anyways, I got a few articles here I want to share with you guys. It's really good. I like this. Keep sending me your articles. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, you could do that, and you could message me on Instagram. I'm not like high profile on there, so I don't have a lot of people messaging me on that. So if you want to message me on that, that's great, because then I know it's from you guys, from my English platform. My Portuguese platform gets like 300-400 messages a day. It's have an auto reply on it, so people freak out when they see an auto reply in Portuguese. So anyways, so comment below, guys. I got the okay, someone just sent me a Money CNN link here. I'm gonna check it out and see what it says. Let's open it here in the new. Please, guys, don't send me porn. I don't care. It says page not found. Interesting. Maybe resend me the link. But anyways, I'm going to go with the link I got here. Oh, wrong one. My bad. Okay, let's go here. Let's go to my first article here. Oh, this is press barred from event in China to raise funds for Kushner condo project. Yes. So it's in China. So I mean, you can't, press could create selected press to these events are selected by government officials to go in and cover stories. Okay. So this is no new news. There's nothing. I mean, yeah, I mean, people complaining about free speech and blah, blah, blah. But it is what it is, okay? So now let's go back here. Press barred from event in China to raise funds for Kushner condo project. Really? White House senior advisor Jared Kushner listens during a meeting with Palestinian leader Mohammed Abbas at the White House Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017 in Washington. Organizers barred. So this is the photo here. So let's go to the event or what happened. Organizers barred journalists on Sunday from publicly advertising event in Shanghai to attract Chinese investment in a U.S. real estate project linked to the family of President Donald Trump. Donald Trump's son-in-law in exchange for immigrant visas. So once again, it's selling out to the highest bidder. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I went to the U.S., applied, did everything by the book. I was going to get a position there running. I was going to be a technical director for a major production facility, and I was declined. I went through the whole thing. I paid thousands of dollars to lawyers to get there, and I was declined. But now, if you apparently want to buy real estate, you can. You could get your immigration visas. You know what I'm saying? If you're from China. So that's what's happening here. So the 2-year luxury apartment complex in New Jersey, One Journal Square, it's called One Journal Square, I guess, is being developed by KABR Group and the Kushner Companies, which until recently was headed by senior White House advisor Jared Kushner, the husband of Trump's daughter, Ivanka. The developers are seeking to raise $150 million, or 15.4% of the funding for the project from investors through the EB-5 visa program, according to marketing materials posted by the event's organizer, immigration agency Kiawia. Can't read that. The controversial EB-5 program allows wealthy foreigners to, in effect, buy U.S. immigration visas for themselves and families by investing at least $500,000 in certain development projects. Sorry, this is a private event. So, here we go. And some they comment on the housing bubble with respect to Toronto and Vancouver housing market. People leaving comments, so could people leave comments below? So let's continue with this. Sorry, this is a private event. That's nice, said a man stopping journalists from entering a function room on Sunday afternoon at Four Seasons Hotel in Shanghai. I mean, you could expect that in China. I mean, like I said, Chinese government officials choose which, I don't even call them journalists, storytellers, or, because a true journalist is a watchdog media, protects the people, informs the people. This is more just like who wants to get their name on the story, basically, and you just do what we tell you type of thing. So, guests at the event, said Kushner's sister, Nicole Kushner Meyer, spoke for about 10 minutes, including about her family's humble roots. And there's a video there. I don't know what that is for. It looks like this looks like it's in Iraq. I don't know why that's there. But anyways, according to the New York Times, Mayer attended a similar event in Beijing on Saturday and told the audience of about 100 people the project. About 100 people the project. Okay, I see. I'm sorry, guys. It's Sunday night. I'm tired. So he told an audience of about 100 people about the project. Means a lot to me and to my entire family. Jared Kushner, whose White House portfolio includes relations with China, sold his stake in Kushner Companies to Family Trust early this year. His lawyer said in a statement in March that Kushner was fully complying with ethnic rules, removing himself from active participation in prior business and devastating assets. I don't know, guys. I'm out of it today. Probably have never used this word in my life. Let's see what it even means. Let's see what this word means. Definition, here we go. Divest. To deprive someone of power, rights of possession. Deprive something of particular quality. Okay, I get it what they're saying. Sorry, guys. I'm a little slow in the head, you know. But I'm not slow to see that people are buying at the top and getting ripped off and getting screwed over. And that's a problem. A Kushner Company spokeswoman declined to comment in the New York Times article about Beijing event published on Saturday. The Times story said Mayor Meyer did not respond when asked if he was concerned about possible conflicts of interest facing her brother. Journalists from the Times and Washington Post were removed from Saturday's Beijing event, the newspapers reported. Of course they're going to remove them. Popular with wealthy Chinese, the one potential investor, Sophie, said very important factor in her decision to attend Sunday's event was the fact that the project was a Kushner Companies investment and that Trump's son-in-law's sister would be showing up in Shanghai. Actually, I really don't know how close they are, but I felt this was a pretty good project, she said. In a promotion text message seen by Reuters, Kyowayu, can't even remember, made a note of Meyer's relationship to Trump and called her event's heavyweight honored guest. Well, I'm getting some comments here. Okay, I got something here from Steve the Plumber. Okay, here goes. Mortgage brokers said that it's foreign buyers driving up the market then have more problems than we know about. He proceeded to say that the mortgage application fraud is crazy. Yeah, like I said, a lot of just shadow lending, shadow banks. I said it in previous videos about what's been going on and stuff, and it's been a problem, guys. You gotta know, like, this is a huge, huge task and a huge problem for someone that has to come in and clean this problem, because Canada, I think, will remain as a free market, and I don't think there's nothing Canada could do to stop people from coming in and investing. I think what Canada originally wanted was for people to come in and invest in small businesses and help the country economically and create jobs, but that's not happening. So people are taking homes as investments, right? And that's obviously, if you look at what's happening, was the right investment to make. But they're treating it now as a commodity. But when things become commodities, they got to crash. It happens. It goes up and down. But a lot of people believe that the housing market will never crash. It will just keep going up normally, just ascending. The project was also called Kushner 1, advertised the prospect of putting money in under the federal EB5 program. Well, here's a video here. The program is popular among wealthy Chinese looking to shift assets abroad to move overseas, but it has come under fire in the United States. Some U.S. lawmakers have called for changing or abolishing the EB5 program, but the scheme was recently renewed by Congress until September 30th. Potential investor Zing, I think I pronounced that right, said Kushner representative who spoke on Sunday stressed the EB5 rules could change after September to raise the minimum requirement of investment. Oh, they're not going to abolish the EB5. You don't worry about that. They're just going to raise it to a couple of $1,000,000, and then that's going to help. So you know what I'm saying? I don't know why, but this is something that I don't know why they just can't get the citizens of the United States, such a technologically advanced country. Why don't they just get them to vote? Everybody on smartphones at 2 o'clock, your vote matters. If you've missed the vote, well, too bad. At 2 o'clock, vote yes or no. Should we scrap the EB5 investments? Then the people vote. Instead of having one guy in some office somewhere, God knows where, drinking his latte and saying, "Now we're going to keep this. We need this. We got to raise it to $2-3 million." I don't know. Comment below, guys. What do you guys think? Okay, Steve the plumber has commented again. He said that the Canadians' wages, following up with the story he told me, could not possibly be increased to the required amount year over year. No one got a 30% raise. Therefore, how does one qualify for these mortgages at these prices? So, Steve, I know I've been preaching this for a long time, and it's going to happen. There's no other light at the end of the tunnel. Major cities like Vancouver, because you got the mountains to the north, the ocean to the west, and then you got the farms to the east, I have a feeling that I could see a city like that becoming a ghost town. Not completely tumbleweed on the street ghost town, but it's a lot of. It's going to be an elite resort for people, and they're going to have the schmucks driving in 2 hours every day to go clean up the mess and take out the garbage and do all the low end work, and that's really sad. I just see it becoming a resort town. I see Vancouver becoming a resort city. And I could even see them in the next 10 years or 15 years turning people away at the bridge. Coming in. What are you going to do? What are you doing, Van? What are you going to come over here? What are you doing here? Oh, we're just going to go turn your car around. You're not well. I could see it. I could see things like that happening. It's like 50, 60 years ago, if you told people like, yeah, there's going to be a brick. It's going to be about this big. You're going to hold it in your head and you're going to talk to a guy. You're going to be in Lisbon, Portugal, and you could instantly talk to someone in Australia. They'll be like, you're crazy. It's happened. Everything happens. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I don't want none of this to happen. You know what I'm saying? But I'm really concerned about cities becoming travel cities, And then when you go there to visit or when you're there, people will look at you like, what's this guy doing here? He doesn't belong. I can see that in 10, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? And then it goes, Steve the plumber is continuing with the story. He says, it appears that many Canadians would have had to over-embellish, lie, or fabricate of their application to get the mortgage. You know what, Steve? It's actually not... not the Canadian. It's not the people. It's not the people. It's the people that are taking the application. The lender themselves are the ones that are doing a lot of, and they've been caught many times fudging numbers. And there's a couple of articles you could look up. I'm not mentioning any big bank names because I don't want to. I just don't want to get into trouble. But there are quite a few that have been fudging numbers and putting things together to make the TDS and CGS and all that stuff fit, and put the loan to value, put everything into place to make it work. But unfortunately, a couple of years or a couple of months, if they could last a couple of years, they're just, people are living off fumes, So how does this work? I mean, how does this work? How do people buy food? And then I'm going back to people buying food. I got another article here. I got people buying food on credit cards. This page does not exist. Okay, I keep getting this page does not exist. But, yeah. Let me continue here with this article that I wanted to. So, in the United States, they're getting people, they're going overseas and creating exhibits for people to go and look at investment opportunities overseas in the United States and blah, blah, blah. But then these towers they're building, and within a 5-block or 10-block radius, it's going to be elitist land. And that's a problem. Okay, CBC right now is giving out 65% home equity loans, no income verification. Yep, right. In Markham, lots of homes for sale. Few selling. I actually saw that in Markham. I saw the article in Markham. I saw it. They were discussing that the whole GTA, Greater Toronto Area, is suffering because there's more homes in the market than what's selling, and they're going back and forth and trying to massage the numbers so people don't. This is normal, and it might be just normal, but it might be a big problem. So let's continue here with this article. The whole thing may change later. So basically, the EB-5 program, what I was talking about earlier in the article, the EB-5 program is a problem. It's good if it's basically, I think it's open to the whole world for any wealthy investors to come into the United States, but it's also a problem because then it takes away from society. It takes away from the fabric and the pillars that what builds. People don't know how good we have things. Okay, a lot of people don't know how good we had it in the 80s during Reaganomics. A lot of people have no idea how good things are right now. Yeah, we're in a housing crisis. Yeah, there's wars everywhere. But we're still in a decent form of living day to day. I'm afraid that we're even going to lose part of that, and it's going to slowly crumble into dust. And I'm just feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. Turning away people at the bridge. People are coming to the bridges. They're going to just 10, 15 years. Watch. Okay, Steve the Plumber. Price reductions have begun to happen, Mike and Jake Carter. Realtor said that multiple offers and bidding wars were a thing of the past. So that could be something that could alleviate the multiple price hikes and over Australia. I mean, recently they're still going over asking. So let's go continue here. In the United States, the EB-5 program has also sparked concerns about possible scams. Hello, red alert. Some immigrants have been burned by misrepresentations made by the program by promoters both inside and outside the United States. Many have lost only their money but their chance to winning U.S. citizenship. Trump has vowed to clamp down on illegal immigration. In addition to Beijing and Shanghai, the roadshow for One Journal Square was scheduled to hit Chinese cities of Shenzhen. I can't read that, according to Kuei's marketing materials online. It calls for Kushner family, famous real estate clan, and touts of EB-5 immigration as peace of mind. Kuei's, can't even read that, Chinese language marketing material describes the project as supported by the government, created by a star developer, wow, and says the project is its 87th EB-5 program. Okay. So I'm going to leave you guys can find this. Here it is. It's a lengthy article, but it's not bad at all. And here's the article right here. It's by Global News, and the article's headline: Press barred from event in China to raise funds for Kushner condo project. So Global News in Canada. So let's get that off the list. Now, so Steve the Plumber is adding to his story, says, Realtor has also said, so he got in contact with a realtor. I'm going to get a Skype thing here so you guys could call in, and then I could have like a speaker here, and then it could be heard on the microphone. I don't know. Let me know if you guys want me to do that. But it says here, Steve the Plumber also said that he has not seen this many listings to sales ratio since 2011. So something's happening, people. Something's happening. So let's head out to Australia, people. Australia, another free market country that's basically Genworth Mortgages, guys. Genworth Mortgages is like CMHC here in Canada. It's like an insurance for your mortgage that insures the banks and not you. So CMHC, whatever you want to call it, insures the banks. So if you think you're covered by some sort of housing insurance or whatever the case, read the fine print. I could be wrong, but read the fine print, because you could be in a little bit of hot water, you know what I'm saying? So here goes. Australian Business Review, Genworth Mortgage Insurance warns of risky home loan deposits. Again, they're ripples. There's ripples in the water. There's problems. They're not addressing. You know, they're addressing it or they're touching it, but no one's really going in and really, you know, making that, hey, what the hell's going on here? Put laws in place now. It's not happening. The nation's largest mortgage insurer has warned that borrowers are scraping together deposits with credit card debt. I'm going to say this again, in case your ears don't believe what I'm saying, okay? The nation's largest mortgage insurer has warned that borrowers are scraping together deposits with credit card debts. You're probably wondering, but the bank will know. No. The problem is it takes a month for it to show up on your credit bureau. So once you apply for that mortgage, and the day before you go to you take cash advances on your credit cards, you go to the bank that 1 or 2 days later, you go ahead and apply. You make an inquiry on your credit bureau. That all those cash advances will not show. It will not show on your credit bureau. So your TDS will fit because they won't take those credit cards into effect because they're not showing as being used at that time. So be really careful, because when I was working in finance, I seen a lot of people try to Mickey Mouse certain things, and you got to be really careful and wary about that. You know what I'm saying? So parental loans and other forms of risky unsecured debt, as tougher regulations force lenders to require larger deposits. So this is a big deal, guys. This is a huge deal because a lot of people don't understand. They're taking out more debt to create, and they're thinking a lot of people are being scared of being bought out, and that's been people have come to grips and have come to the realization that they can never own, right? And a lot of people, you know, a lot of people's dream is just to own their own house. And, you know, 30 years ago, it was like, yeah, let's buy a house. Okay, you know, let's go buy a house. Let's go out in the market and look around. And it wasn't a problem. You know, you look at them and then the guy says, okay, I want 130 for this house. You say, I could do 115, and you kind of work things out. And okay, fix the roof and I could do 125, you know, things like that, right? But now, good luck. The warning comes as Prudential regulator has admitted it is unable to gauge whether some banks were writing loans to owner-occupiers or investors, potentially stymieing efforts to clamp down on rampant investor lending to de-risk the housing market. Big words, but big meaning. Genworth Mortgage Insurance yesterday revealed a sharp spike in loan defaults over March quarter, with the company's loss ratio jumping from 27% to 35% year to year. Delinquencies across the company's loan portfolio surged 18% over the same period. So you got to take and you got to lose a bit, you know. Okay, here goes. I got some more feedback here from Steve the Plumber. Says, so Steve the Plumber, I've been reading the story here in the comments as it's been going by. And he's basically saying, realtors are now no longer listing properties on a Wednesday open house on the weekend and expecting offers on the following Monday, Tuesday night. The market has changed. So there's definitely evidence of cooling going on. And basically, you could put your house for sale on a Monday, negotiating on a Tuesday, and you're out on, basically you could be out of the house by Wednesday. That's how fast you could sell your house, and with multiple offers on it too. So there's lots of comments coming through. So bye guys, leave links below in the comments section for other people to read certain articles that you're commenting on here, please. So let's continue. So this is my second time doing this, so I'm a bit nervous. I'm live to air, so don't freak out, okay, guys? Genworth, yeah, so let's go back to this last part here. Right here. So delinquencies across the company's loan portfolio surged 18% over the same period. So we're in Australia, people, so National Australia Bank will today provide an update on the amount of its own borrowers nearing default as it unveils its interim results. But do you guys believe that they're actually gonna really tell it how it is? You know what I'm saying? Do you guys believe this or what? Anyways, so there's people commenting on different homes for sale. So just little inside jobs going on and stuff. The nation's third largest ANZ, the nation's third largest mortgage lender this week revealed that a sharp increase in the number of borrowers failing to pay mortgages over a longer term basis, with number of loans where payments were overdue more than 90 days, 3 months, rising. So they have R9s on the credit bureau, 8% year to year. So 90 days rising 8% year to year. Shares in the big four banks tanked yesterday, falling 2 to 3%, each in the wake of ANZ's admission that migrants were likely to come under more pressure. So this is a really long article. It's a very long article, actually, and I'm going to leave this for you guys. I'm going to go back to the top so you can take a look at it. It's the Australian Business Review. And Genworth is a big deal because they're like CMHC in Canada. They're somewhat of a big deal, and they're touching, like I said, they're touching water, kind of putting it out there. But hey, you know, does anyone even read this stuff? Because, I mean, I'm very sure if you sat down, the people, like everybody in Australia and everyone taking loans and everybody going to take loans, or people in the market right now, and you sat everybody down and you told them what's happening, there'll be chaos. So luckily nobody watches or reads this stuff, you know, so that it kind of, you know, people are brainwashed and things keep, you know, getting swept under the rug. And because I'm pretty sure if a lot of people were adept to what this article is saying, this is a problem. This is a huge problem. You'd see chaos. People would actually go and protest outside and start fixing this problem. But anyways, let's go to New Zealand, guys. I got some good news from New Zealand because you remember, guys, this is a free market. So I'm getting more comments here. The mortgage broker said that the problem of fraud and or establishment is done by shady mortgage brokers. It's definitely a lot of those big mortgage secondary mortgage companies, the ones that don't qualify to go to the banks and stuff, they've actually disconnected themselves from a lot of shady mortgage brokers. They've actually disconnected themselves from them. Because what's happened is there's a lot of lying and misconception and lots of, because the lender knows what the underwriter wants to see to approve the deal, right? And that's a problem. Because then what happens is they start writing up these loans and putting garbage on the books, right? There's a lot of garbage on the books right now. There's a ton of garbage. But the problem is, who's going to back it up? The taxpayer. The taxpayer will come and clean the mess when the party's over. You know? It might infuriate or upset a lot of people thinking, oh, this guy got to buy a Jeep and this and that and live a good 7-8 years off his mortgage and blah, 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 and second and third mortgages and blah, 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 and reconstruction of, structuring his mortgage and getting another 20 grand and this and that. And a lot of people are upset. A lot of people will be upset saying, I work my arse off, I pay my rent, paying my bills. Then you have some guy that owns a house that's taking all the equity out and partying and vacationing and traveling like he won the lottery. And then the problem is that the taxpayer, the guy that's working the 3 jobs just to pay his rent, has to fund the bill to clean up this mess. Why? Anyways, let's go here to Auckland. New Zealand's a big deal, man. New Zealand is you guys have no idea. People are renting out bunks in New Zealand. A bunk in one shower per day, $1,000 a month. And then I think laundry expenses are separate. It's a huge problem. Let's go over here to Auckland homes. Auckland homes on the market rise amid low recorded elsewhere. The total number of Auckland homes available for sale in Auckland recently hit a record high. See, you're seeing more homes for sale now in New Zealand. Despite their regions having to settle with scanty numbers, according to the realestate.co.New Zealand, the news is taking over the mainstream in a period when demand for property in Auckland is seriously lagging. According to this reputable real estate sector watchdog firm, that's what I like. Good, reputable, for the people, right? The number of homes ready for sale has been rising last month. Shockingly, the increase is being experienced in Auckland alone, as other parts of the country experience a shortage of listings. So, you know what? It might happen in the big city, and it might move itself out. And that's usually what happens. Once the capital or the bigger city, major cities get hit, the rest starts to fall, and then any colonies that are adjacent to the country start to fall also, right? Towards the end of April, Real Estate again reports that the gigantic 8,927 Auckland homes were listed for sale. That's pretty big. That's almost 9,000 Auckland homes. The figure is just surprisingly huge in a period when properties elsewhere are selling like hotcakes. The 49.5% rise compared to the same period a year ago hasn't been reached over the last 5 years. So we're seeing signs of cooling in the capital. Let's go to this part right here. I read this earlier. While the number of apartments available for sale in Auckland is this huge, it's amazing. The contrary is happening. In other areas of New Zealand, the total listings are at an all-time low in Hawke's Bay. And there's other cities here, Gisborne, in Wellington and Canterbury. The situation is relatively stable. In fact, in most regions, a difference between April's and last year's numbers of listings is this year is almost negligible. Whatever. I know what that means, but moreover, the asking price of newly advertised properties in April this year is almost similar to that of March, though the demand have slumped 13.8% over the last 3 months. But as listings continue in Auckland, it will remain to be seen if indeed 31.1 reduction in the demand in homes will persist. So let's go back here to this key part right here. In Auckland, New Zealand, 8,927 homes were listed for sale. It's on the rise. So New Zealand's feeling it. And free market country, once again. And they're kind of, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They're touching water with it. They're getting their feet wet. Like I said, if a majority of people knew this and actually cared about reading this in New Zealand, you would see in Auckland, you'll see an increase of, let's say, another 5,000-6,000 homes in the next week up on the market, because a lot of them, like I said, are people that are working check to check, just trying to get by and scrape by, investing in this house. Hopefully the return will be worth it. They're just going to throw their house in the market and say, sell, sell, sell. But right now, Auckland's looks like it's going to be a buyer's market soon if they start adding more homes. So I'm going to follow this vigilantly, because let's see, 8,900 homes. Let's see what happens in the next month in New Zealand, in Auckland. See if that goes up. If it goes up, that means homes aren't selling. Okay, let's go. We got lots of comments here. Yeah, a lot of people, like I've said, get rich from real estate. It becomes a game. Buy now before it's too late. And then someone put in an acronym FOMO, fear of missing out, and that's a big problem, huge. And then we are screwed. And then Jay Carter, but what may happen is all these manic buyers at the top will turn into manic sellers when the market turns. Whenever that will be, no one knows. But look, it's happening right now in Auckland. And Auckland's one of the bigger cities, obviously. I think it's the biggest cities, one of the biggest cities in New Zealand, to be honest with you. I'm not too sure. Geographically, I'm not sure. But it is a pretty big city. And if it looks like, if the capital goes, I believe the rest of the country will go with it if there's a crash, right? And then any adjacent colonies to it will fall with it, right? Chris V says fake loan is not in housing. See a lot of dealerships lend out money to bad credit or none credit customer. Just wonder how it could stand there. Not only in housing. That's very true. I hear it all the time on the radio. You have no money? You have no credit? You don't have a job? Come in, we'll get you a car. Are you friggin' serious? Hey man, I got no money. I got no job. I got no credit. Can you give me a car? It's like, really? Anyways, yeah, no, it's very true. Yep, and then Buddy's Mr. Robot says, time to buy some farmland and get a bug out location. Yep. Like I said, I did a video a few weeks back. I was on a hobby farm. And they had chicken coops and they had... I was kind of... They're older people, so they're in their 70s. So it's kind of hard for them to... The eggs is enough. But I'm saying for younger families or people that want a challenge in life, think of it as like buying an old sailboat as a family and repairing it. If you've watched the movie Captain Ron, it's about a family that buys a sailboat and they work as a family to restore it and travel and enjoy life. I see a hobby farm as the same thing. You buy a nice farm, a little home that's already built there. You start setting up your solar panels. You start getting your chicken coops in. You get a couple of cows for milk. You get a bit of, you know what I'm saying? You get a little bit of, maybe a quarter of an acre of land to do your onions and your tomatoes and stuff, and then all the leftover excess, you could jar it. Oh, it's a great family experience, especially if the kids are in school, and kids are getting off at 3 o'clock now. They're never in but when I was in school, I used to go to school till 6 at dark outside in the winter to come home. Now kids get off early, they come home to the hobby farm, like in the area, of course, right? They come home, they help with milking the cows, they help with, doing things, you know what I'm saying? And this is, I think, a lot more better experience living on a hobby farm and living off-grid, if you want to call it that. Fantastic for children growing up and learning and understanding and being part of more of a family project, right? But, a lot of people like to stick to the cities, right? And, you can't blame them because there's lights and glamour, but I think it's a hoax. Let's move to Canada. What the aging Canadian population means for the housing market. Canada's population is aging, and Canadians are living longer. So there's a lot of people not retiring, so you get a lot of people basically, staying in their jobs till they're 70 and 80, and a lot of young millennials can't get the jobs. And, a lot of them get upset. It's like, come on, retire already. But they can't afford to retire because it's too expensive. And if they leave the country for too long, they'll lose their pension. They got to spend your pension money. So if you want to go to Tahiti, or you want to go to the Florida Keys, or you want to go to the Azores, it's really hard to stay long times now because of fear of losing their pension, even though, they want it spent in the country. Okay. Yeah, and then somebody JW just mentioned here, one advantage of Canada has large amounts of land, cheap land. And it's true. Like I said, you get out of the city, you get 2 hours out of the city, north, east, west, depending as stay away from the water. Get close to the water if you like, but there's always wells. You can always well it out. There's lots of ways, you know what I'm saying, to get a bug out farm. I'll do a show on bug out farms in the next week or two. We'll talk about living off grid, and because this is a really, really cool thing, saving water. When people catch water and filter it and drink it, and I think that's even sometimes better than some of the stuff we get in the ground or some of the lakes we drink out of. So I don't know. I'm just putting that out there, right? Creating a nice log cabin. I don't know. I'm just dreaming. I'm a dreamer. You know what I'm saying? But let's go to Canada here. So 2 trends. So Canada's population is aging and Canadians are living longer. These 2 trends, takeaways from Statistics Canada latest 2016 census data released, will have big implication for the country's housing market, suggested one economist. So let's give it a chance to see what he says. Brian DiPrato, a senior economist with TD Bank's economist department, says that much of it comes down to whether the retirement age Canadians choose to downsize to condos, cottages, or instead live out their golden years in their current homes. How those dynamics play out is going to have a huge impact on supply dynamics for the Canadian housing market, DiPrato explains. Statistics Canada announced this week that the latest results mark the first time census data has shown more seniors than children living in the country as they are born during the post-war boom continue to reach retirement age. That's huge. I just had to process that. Yeah. There were 5.9 million people in Canada aged 65 or over last year, compared to 5.8 million who were no older than 14, according to the 2016 census. Holy crap. We have a severely aging population. That just hit me right there. Wow. The increase the increase in the proportion of seniors from 2011 to 2016 was the largest observed since 1871. Wow. A clear sign that Canada's population is aging at a faster pace, reads the Statistics Canada release. And DiPrato notes that this trend isn't showing signs of abating. 1 in 5 Canadians were aged 54 to 65, according to Statistics Canada. Holy, that's huge. 1 in 5 Canadians are 54 to 65. Most of these baby boomers reside in low-rise abodes, including detached homes and townhomes. DiPrato suggests that if they downsize, it could provide some relief for the low-rise segment in urban Canadian markets, he adds. At the same time, this movement could increase demand for other types of dwellings. Potentially, depending on what they decide, they can create an additional demand, perhaps for condos, but also perhaps demand for that type, low-rise housing, but in different markets, DiPrato explains. Whatever happened to those communities, I don't know if you guys seen the TV show Golden Girls, right? Where they live in some gated community in South Florida, and a lot of those gated communities, not a lot, but some of the gated communities are 55 and older and 65 and older, and that's fantastic. They have on-site security, the low-rise places, and I think that's fantastic. To create communities like that and creating condos for 55 and 65 and over. This way, it keeps the prices affordable for people in this market that want to choose to downsize and give up their homes to a younger couple to take over, and this gets them into a facility or housing with other older people, and that would be amazing. And they're not in a retirement home; they're more in kind of shopping and close to shops and stuff, swimming pools, tennis courts. I think that's fantastic, you know? So, you may expect to see a lot of these people choose to retire outside of the major urban areas. Looking for value, looking to cash in equity they build up in the house, maybe put some of that towards retirement, more so than just another house, he adds. Sorry guys, I'm tired. A possible counterforce could be that life expectancies push higher. More Canadians choose to stay in their single-family homes longer. Certainly, I think that there's going to be a non-insufficient fraction of the population that is going to choose to live in their homes well into retirement years, DiPetro says. This is something we see. In any case, DiPetro notes, this won't happen overnight, he says. It will take 15 years for the market to see the effects. Demographics are, by definition, slowly moving. Guys, we're in a lot of trouble. We have an aging population, and I'm thinking creating retirement condos, not retirement homes, retirement condos. People that are, in incapacitated, like they're in wheelchairs and stuff, will live on the ground level type thing. Then people in the higher floors, that are more able and willing could be, I would think that would be a great move for retirement condos, 60 and plus. I think that would be a very good thing. So, who are you guys voting for? May 9th, here in British Columbia, Canada. It's our elections. And I want to know, I don't want to know who you're voting for, but I want to know who you think is going to win. A lot of people are out there, did some early voting. I got a few friends riding in different parts, different ridings. So, we'll see what happens with that. Yep. NDP, 678. NDP. So let's go to some comments here. Yes, Mike, you'll have a declining population soon. This is by design. Smaller population, easier to control. Yep, that goes back to divide and conquer tactics by the higher level, above government. We're talking about in the clouds, above government. And that's agenda, I don't know what they call it, Agenda 21 or Agenda 22, something that's been out and about for many years. It's basically a blueprint on how to control population and control masses of people. We could do that another day on the show. We could talk about some more in-depth things that are affecting us in a more grander scale than we don't even know. MLS is housing in Unionville in one of the neighborhoods. Houses going for $1.8 to $2 million. Just sold for $1.72 million. Yikes. So Unionville, Ontario, I'll show you where it is. So if you guys think living in Merritt is pretty bad, or where I'm living, there's Unionville. There it is right there. It's not too far. That's not as bad as I thought. It's east of 72 and north of the 407. East of the 404, sorry. East of the 404, north of the 407. Up in high. Wow. Here, let's take a look at what it looks like, the area. That's it right there. Just, my house is like twice the size of these homes, too. My house is way bigger than this. Land-wise, house-wise. And I paid $260 for it. See? Standard homes. Homes like this in Arizona go for like $190,000, $240,000 for a really well-kept home. Watch House Hunters, people. Watch House Hunters and see if you think I'm lying. And the thing is, they have 10 to 15 homes to choose from for $200,000. We're getting hit here in Canada pretty hard. Population's aging. There's a lot of problems, and I don't know how we're going to justify this all. I don't know how. I know we have government to govern things, you know. And to be very frank with you guys, I don't know what's going to happen. There's just so many There's so much everything happening. And my advice, can I give you some advice to that, people? Manage. There's a grand scheme of things happening. Yes, there is. There's wars. There's this. There's famine. There's shadow flipping. There's this. There's that. And it's affecting us. And it's hitting our doorsteps. My advice, just micromanage your things. Micromanage your job. Not micromanage like, just take care of your family. Take care of, keep within your boundaries. There's huge grand scale. Oh, there's chemtrails. There's this. There's that. They're building a wall. They're doing this. Keep within your confines. Understand what's going on around you. Look at the globe. Understand what's happening in the world. Piece it together in your mind. Fine. But when it comes to worrying, worry about, making sure you got food on your table. Making sure your family's taken care of. Making sure you're making headway at work. Making sure you're happy in life. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, guys, I want to see if I can get a Skype thing set up here so people could call in and set up a Skype discussion and get people on the show and stuff. I got an in-depth realtor. He's like heavy-duty in-depth that does analysis, and he did a thesis on what's happening with housing in the Lower Mainland here in Vancouver. And he's telling me that his results are astonishing beyond what anyone could imagine. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm really tired. And I'm messing up on reading here. My eyes are blurry. I'm tired. It's Sunday night. Get some good sleep, guys. Go to work tomorrow if you got work. And I'll do a live to air. I'll probably do a live to air next Friday if you guys want. And I could do a Sunday night, what do you call it? Unwind show for Sunday night. We could unwind on some of the topics that we spoke about on Friday. Let me know if there's any suggestions or any changes you want to see. Let me know. I think we should have people call in through Skype. If there's other ways to call in, guys, let me know. I could put you on speaker here, and then we could discuss basically stories. You don't have to say who you are. You just say, there's a house selling down the street from me for this much. Buddy sold his house for this much, and he made $400,000 and blah, blah, blah. We like to hear some of these stories. We like to know what's going on the ground, right? So you could call into the show, and this could help. You know what I'm saying? This could help because, the articles are good. Some of the articles I get are really good, but it's good to get feedback from people, and like I said, there's so much about housing to talk about. You guys have no idea. Anyways, thanks for watching Trends in the Housing Market. Don't forget the subscribe button and get this video out there. And I appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this video. Scale it back. It's going to be up. It's going to be up by tomorrow morning, the whole show, if you want to watch it in the articles. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for watching, guys. Big hug. And don't forget the subscribe button.